first up, we're going to start with Katie Bowman. So Katie is going to be talking about how to create a marketing plan. And Katie actually rejoined the K-Card or Kentucky Center for Ag and Rural Development. She rejoined the team this year in 2024. She brings 6 years of technical experience to Kentucky producers. And in her role, she's going to be assisting producers as they look to expand their markets, increase direct to consumer and wholesales, scale up their business, or even explore new markets. So I'll let Katie talk a little bit more about her role and I'll hand it over to her.
Thank you so much, Bethany. As Bethany said, my name is Katie Bowman. I apologize, I'm trying to turn off my notifications here. I thought I had this turned off. Um, a marketing and business development specialist at the Kentucky Center for Agriculture and Rural Development. My specific role within K-Card is to help producers who are looking at farmers markets and ready to go beyond farmers markets. All that being said, I love marketing. It is obviously, so I'm here talking to you all tonight. It's what I love to do. It's what I love to share and talk about. And so I'm happy to help anyone in any stage of marketing that you're in. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about marketing as a whole. Obviously, the next 3 nights, tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday night, are about marketing and about marketing specifically for CSAs. And so I'm trying to keep tonight a little bit of a overview of everything, but also kind of give you some tangible things to work on and something concrete to take back with you for your business. So how do we make marketing work for our business? That is a huge question. And we're going to go through a few pieces about it. So the first one is, what is marketing? So marketing is a huge word that can mean all kinds of different things. Sometimes people use it to mean sales. Sometimes people use it to mean promotions. Sometimes people use it just to talk about the business as a whole and how to talk about your business. So what is marketing? Marketing is a tactic that uses a variety of channels, a variety of formats to promote your business. Overall, it is promotion. Marketing works for any business with any budget. You can have a budget of $0 and still market your business. You can have a budget of $5 million and still market your business. And you can do very good with either budget. There's no right or wrong mix. There's no right or wrong budget to have. You have to use what works best for you and for your organization. So a few things that we're going to talk about tonight. One is the marketing mix. We're going to dive into a little bit of online marketing and then a little bit of traditional marketing. We're really going to focus on the marketing mix as a whole. There are a lot of components to it. There's a lot of there's 2 different ways that people think about it. We're going to kind of talk through those here in a minute. And so there's no right or wrong way. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Bethany, I do not have my chat up, so I don't see them. But I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end and we'll kind of go through things together. All right, so your marketing mix. This is what makes you you. So it's everything from your product to your pricing to where you're located, how you get your product out. So that's place, promotion, how you get the name of your product out, how you get your business name out, your consumers, your communication with your consumers, so engagement, and then the cost. There are some of these that seem relatively similar to other words like price and cost. They are different, and we're going to kind of talk through that here in just a minute. So the first one is your product. You can't market yourself without a product, whether that be yourself and your services or it be an actual physical, tangible product. So within your product, obviously with fresh produce, there is a little less product design per se. But you've got to look at your brand. You've got to look at your logo for your business. You've got to look at your colors. You've got to really think about what you're producing. If you are producing greens and cold crops and early season produce, you don't want your logo to be in orange. You don't, one, we don't grow oranges that well in Kentucky anyways, but you don't want it to be in orange. You want it to be something that represents your business. The second part is, what are you providing your customers and what do they need? And we're going to go a little bit into this soon in just a minute or so. But what is it that your product provides your customers? Is it healthy food? Is it organic food? Is it sustainable food? Is it something that they can get on a regular basis that tastes better and different than what they would get in a grocery store that's mass produced or shipped in from other states and other countries? And then what's your product like? Again, this includes the design, the features, the quality, packaging, branding, anything else associated with the product. So really, what are you providing your customers? This is usually the easiest thing with marketing is I have an idea for a product. This is what I want to do. And unfortunately, it is not if I build it or if I produce it, they will come to buy it. You have to get your name out there and you have to be willing and willing to talk to people more so. The next piece is your consumer. So who is your ideal consumer? What is the demographic for your product and services? If you're producing a organic grass-fed finished beef, grass finished beef, it's going to cost you more to produce your product than it would for someone who is doing pastured with grain available on a that's not organic. It's not because it's better or worse, it's just there's more costs associated to it. So you've really got to look at what those costs are. The costs that you pay for your product and how much it costs you to produce your product are going to then in turn be reflected down to your customer. And they're going to be the ones that are going to have to be willing to pay for that product. And you're going to have to be the ones that are willing to market that product in a way that sounds like, you know what, I really need that product in my life. One way you can look at that, and one way that we help, K-Card helps with that, is we help look at market research and the data to support that target audience. So we look at what the demographics are, what are shopping trends lately. I was reading a shopping trends report from 2023, and it was stating today that a lot more people are cooking at home. In addition to that cooking at home piece, they need food that is easily and quickly prepared because the amount of time that they're home is greater than it was prior to the pandemic, but less than it was when we were in the pandemic. And so they're still wanting to carry on that tradition of cooking at home and having meals at home, but they need something quick. They need a meal kit. They need something that's readily available and able to quickly throw together in a 30, 45-minute meal, and they can sit down as a family and enjoy. Consumers are looking for that right now. So how can your product, how can your business target that demographic? The next part of your target consumers, and we talked a little bit about this just then, but what are their needs? What do they want? What is their education level? We often don't think about that when it comes to our target customers, is we just assume everybody needs to eat, and they do. But if you've got someone who hasn't made it past middle school or high school, they're not going to understand how to prepare some vegetables. Or if you give them a recipe that has lots of technical terms, they might not understand that. It is amazing. I cook all the time at home. It is amazing when you tell somebody a cup of something, they can just go to the cabinet and grab a drinking cup, and say, okay, here's a cup. And I'm like, no, like 8 ounces, like a cup, a cooking cup. And then, so the education piece is really important. And that kind of goes into your communication and your promotion as well. But looking at what your customers want, what are they looking for in a product like yours? Are they looking for taste? Are they looking for quality? Are they looking for sustainability? Are they looking for the certified organic seal on there? What are they looking for? What do they want? And then what are their needs? How can your product help their lives be easier? Ultimately, customers and patrons are looking for ways to make their life simpler, but still have all of the positives that come along with more complexity. So price and cost. This is another one where I kind of mentioned that it's kind of the same. So the price is actually, what are your customers willing to pay? What are they willing to pay? If you have a product and you say, I'm going to produce this product next year, but you just start asking customers and say, hey, if I were to produce a I don't know, an organic tea mixture, what would you pay for that? What would you pay for 4 ounces of tea leaves? And if they say, well, I'd be willing to pay $5 or I'd be willing to pay $2, then there's kind of your idea of what your customers are willing to pay and what they think is reasonable. But if you look at it and you say, okay, I'm gonna grow tea leaves, and it costs you more than $5 to produce 4 ounces of tea leaves, then your product might not do well in that marketplace. You might have to find a different marketplace that has higher paying customers or customers with higher disposable incomes that are willing to pay more. And then the last part of cost, and this is interesting to me because it's one of those questions that you don't always think about, is what is the cost to your customer to implement your product in their life? And this is especially true with CSAs because I am sure you have all heard the it's not really a complaint, but the comment of I have so much produce, I don't know what to do. Or I have so many weeks of carrots. I'm running out of recipes for carrots. The cost for your customer to go in every week and search carrot recipes or kohlrabi recipes or bok choy recipes is hard. It doesn't seem like it's that hard, but if you're looking at somebody and they want ease of access and they're buying your product, they're buying your into your CSA share because it makes their lives easier. They don't have to think about what they're getting at the grocery store. They can use meals, they can use that produce to supplement whatever they're adding to their regular meal. That cost, that extra 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a week, whatever it might be, it's huge for them. So making sure that they have something that they can use every week, whether it's putting a recipe in for a product, a produce or product that you're going to be putting in there on a regular basis, so they can try something new. Or if it is um, or if it's surveying them, if further processing down the product would be helpful. So going from whole carrots one week to sliced carrots to shredded carrots, what would work for them? Or even making it into a salad mix or a coleslaw mix. Now onto the fun stuff, the promotion. So when you look at promotion, there are technically two ways to promote. There's online marketing and then there's traditional marketing. With today's day and age, I break it out into three. So you have social media, you have online, and then you have traditional. The reason I break social media out on its own is because there are so many social media platforms now that you can be on, and there's so many ways to get your information out and who you are out on social media. In addition to that, consumers go to social media first, and your social media sites will be one of the top listed Google pages if you're posting regularly, if people are regularly engaging with them. They act as their own little mini website almost. So that's what you're going to be. That's why I've broken it out into three. So using a variety of channels to promote your products and services is going to be key. Just like with markets, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Same thing goes with promotion. You want to be able to share information out, and each different channel is going to have its own pros and cons looking at it. What you do on social media is much more engaging than what you have on a website, than what you put in a advertisement in the newspaper. And each one of these costs different too. So we'll kind of delve into that. So here's some different ways of promotion. So obviously giveaways, everybody loves a giveaway, consumers especially. Discounts, contests, especially if you are doing more than just CSAs on your farm, having that contest where it says, okay, name our new farm dog, or give us your best recipe, and we'll put them together and put together a small recipe book. If you're at a farmer's market doing free samples, cross-selling, and cross-selling, the Center for Crop Diversification does a great job on talking about cross-selling. But it is, if you're selling someone strawberries and they're like, well, I'm just going to eat these strawberries, you can sell them blackberries and say, well, why don't you make a pie? You've got two fruits, make a pie together, and that is complementary fruits, but it also gets them to buy more. Or if they're buying corn, sell them tomatoes, or if they're buying tomatoes, sell them jalapenos. It just kind of all trickles down, and you just got to piecemeal different pieces. And then obviously social media as a promotion option. Then, so looking at online marketing. So online marketing consists of out 4 different areas. The first is content marketing. So this is you providing valuable content to your audience. It is natural. It is organic in nature. Meaning it is you put information out there and people respond to you. It is not requiring paid promotion. It is not requiring any sort of extra on top of just sharing information. And it's helpful. This can include blog posts, videos. So if you're on Facebook doing a short video, podcast, ebooks, sharing recipes online, things like that that provide some sort of value to your customer and to your audience. That can be done on all different platforms. So the next one we're going to talk about is social media marketing. So consumers expect it. People expect you to have social media, whether it be a Facebook page, an Instagram page. Those are the 2 biggest hitters right now. TikTok is getting up there. There are some questions with TikTok as a whole right now within the landscape of policy. But it's still a great platform for those sharing recipes and food related items. Instagram is a huge one for food. It's picture oriented. People love it. It's great. There's a lot more options now with Instagram than there used to be. Facebook is still a great platform to have, and it's kind of the staple platform, and it's stable as a whole. It is the target audience for Facebook is gearing older. So you are hitting the mid to late 30s, all the way up into 60s and 70s now of ages, versus when it first came on, which you were looking at late high schoolers to college to early 20s. And then you've got Twitter, or X, which hasn't taken off a whole lot within the world of food in Kentucky. It has in other states. And then you've got Snapchat and some others as well. So social media is huge. It is a really big piece to your marketing. And it can be your best friend and your worst enemy. If you plan it out right and you work through what you're planning on posting and sit down once a week or once a month and kind of write it all down and create those images, whether it be through Canva or making sure you have pictures from previous seasons or just making a reminder on your phone saying, take a picture today. That can help you save a lot of time. The other side of it is it can be a really big time suck. If you get on it every day and you're constantly posting or you're constantly responding to messages or comments, which you're supposed to do both, it does take up a lot of time. So finding that happy medium that works best for you and your business is going to be key. The next part we're going to talk about a little bit is email marketing. So email marketing is great for reaching people who are already exposed to your business. So they have already bought a product, they are already interested in what you're doing, they already want to know what's going on, how they can participate, what they can learn from you. There are several different email marketing sites that you can use that help you design your newsletter or design information. And they are able to work with you to provide pricing based on your budget and how many subscribers you have. So generally with those sites, you pay for group of subscribers. So if you have less than 500 people and sending out less than 6,000 emails a month, it's generally a low cost. And then it kind of just goes up from there. Again, having that group of people who are already exposed and have bought into your business is going to be key for email marketing. The next piece is paid advertisements. So paid advertisements are across all areas of online marketing. So social media, display ads, pay-per-click, all of those are all part of paid advertisements. The nice thing with paid advertisements on social media is you can do them for as little as $10 for the whole campaign. And you can direct people to your website, you can direct people to sign up, you can direct people to engage, to go to an event, to buy tickets, to purchase something, or it's just general promotion. For display ads, those are banners, images, and videos on Google Ads. So when you go online, you search something, you see like the name of a business and it says ads next to it, or you see a name like a picture at the top. Those are display ads, and those are paid through your Google My Business account. Those are great, especially if you are targeting a new area, or if you are looking to expand your market outside of your initial area. Um, the next one is pay-per-click. Those are fairly self-explanatory. Same thing as the display ad. It comes up as an ad, sponsored ad, and every time someone clicks on it is when you pay. Nobody clicks on it, you just pay. It's a very nominal fee that you pay just to have it up there. And that's part of your search engine optimization type piece. The biggest thing with online marketing and the biggest thing with all marketing is to be consistent. Without consistency, your marketing will mean nothing. So it's ongoing. Marketing is ongoing. It requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of planning. But it is not it is not something that is too hard for anyone to do. Um, Continually engaging your customers, continually working with them and talking with them, creating that dialogue. You want your customers to be like your BFF, your best friend. You want to be able to talk with them. Obviously, there is a line in the sand between what to share and what not to share with customers, but you want to be able to go out and talk to your customers and see them in the streets and say, hey, what'd you think of that? Or, hey, what recipe? Did you get that recipe that I shared? What did you think of the recipe? What changes have you made to the recipe to better your family or to better your taste? And even reaching out to your customers and saying, hey, is there recipes that you want to share? Can we get a group going on social media, or can you send us your recipes? And then we send out one large email that has all of them put into a document where everyone can access them. And keep that specifically for your CSA members versus your everyday farmers market customers. Um, it is a relationship with your customers. Marketing is a relationship with any consumer. You have to build the trust with your product. You have to build the trust with your brand. You have to get them to buy into it and convince them that it's worth it, and then keeping them. The keeping them is going to be the hardest part. People are willing to try something once. They're willing to throw in some dollars to kind of see what's better and see what works. But keeping them there is going to be the hardest part. And keeping that dialogue open with your customers, continuously marketing your business. Just because they come buy from you does not mean they're going to continue to come buy from you. So making sure you're keeping that dialogue open is going to be really key in keeping those customers and retaining them going forwards. So all of that is a lot, and it's very overwhelming. And I know it's very overwhelming because when creating this presentation, it was a lot for me to think through of like, okay, how can I get everything in here that makes the most sense to everybody? So I don't want you to feel like you're in this alone. K-Card's here. I'm here to help you. Um, I can sit down with you and work through all of these pieces. I'm going to share two documents here in the chat once I get off the EO. One is the social media tactical plan, which I put together several years ago. And it's a large document, but it really does talk you through everything you need to plan out ahead of time before even jumping on social media. Or if you're looking at your social media, how to plan it out so you're not overwhelmed by it. The other one is a comprehensive marketing plan outline or guide. So if you're familiar with K-Card, we have the business plan development guide. It's a 3-page document that kind of walks you through each section of a business plan. This is the same thing for a comprehensive marketing plan. It is long, it is large, but don't complete it by yourself. I am here to help you. I am here to walk you through that. And I want to be able to help you all in any questions that you have about it. If your business is just starting out or you're within the first few months and you're like, you know what, I would love to do this, but we're just not here yet, that's fine. We can pare it down. We can cut it down and we can focus just on what you need at that moment. Um, if you've been in business for 20 plus years and say, you know what, we've done everything we can do, but we're just not sure we're doing enough. We can do a review. I can sit down and do a social media and a marketing review of all the materials that you have, both digital and traditional, and even what you give out to your members and say, okay, this is what you're doing, and this is how you kind of refresh that face, refresh that look, and really kind of take it to that next level so you can not just retain the customers you have, but increase more customers. And then we can do several other things within the marketing realm as well, whether it's working through that initial, like, I've got a business, I have no logo, I don't know what to do, help. We can talk you through that. And we can talk you through looking at if you have a Spotify or Spotify, goodness me, Salesify website or a Square website or something that's related to your online sales. We can help look at that site to see, okay, these are the items that you have. This is how they're described. This can kind of help make that a little bit better. Or look at it in terms of customers of like how many clicks does it get to get somewhere? It's like how many clicks does it get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? How many clicks does it get to go from your home screen to where they need to go? The answer should be 2 or less. So that's hard and it's hard to do sometimes. So any questions? I see there's something in the chat, but here's my cell phone number and my email. Feel free to call me, text me, or email me with any questions that you have regarding this presentation or anything that can help with your business. On the left, on the left is just a few things that we can help with related to marketing and business planning. We do a lot more than just those 6 things here at KCAR, and I'd be happy to talk with you all about that too.
Thank you so much, Katie. So I have a few questions for you. One of them, so you talked about, doing paid ads. What are your personal thoughts on that for a farm to do paid ads? Is there a limit for how much they should spend? Is it should they do it on certain, events or posts? What are your thoughts?
I think paid advertisements for farms is necessary. Um, that being said, I think that it's something that you need to experiment with. So especially for event, if it's a big paid event and it's like a blueberry festival or a strawberry festival, which I've seen a whole bunch of strawberry festivals coming up, of trying to get people from outside of the county or outside the surrounding areas. I think paid advertisements are great. I'm sorry, my dog's trying to tell me it's time for dinner. Um, but so experimenting with that. The nice thing about paid advertising is it's very little skin in the game. It is, you can do a paid advertisement for less than you can go to McDonald's and get a meal. And so knowing that, I think getting it out there and just trying it. And with paid advertisements, if you have a specific demographic, so looking at festivals, for example, a strawberry festival or blueberry festival, you're looking at families, you're looking at parents, you are looking at moms, women, primarily women, within like a 50-mile, 75-mile radius, so about an hour's drive of where you're at. You can put all of those demographics in there and it will target so many people based on that. And it will tell you kind of what your reach will be for your budget. Obviously, Facebook likes to make money. So the more money you put in, the bigger your reach is going to be. But I've done ads recently that it was those kind of parameters and it was $10 and we could reach 19,000 people. That's a lot. If you're looking at 2% of that 19,000 that are then going to come to your farm, and those 2% are going to tell more people, because that's what happens is like once you share it and someone shows they're interested, depending on how they have their privacy set up, which most people don't change this, it blasts it to all their friends. And people average have between 300 to 500 friends on Facebook. So if you say that, and of those 300 to 500, 2% of those friends are seeing their posts. So it's kind of like a circle, like of like if you drop a rock in the water, it just keeps going out. So you're just going to keep seeing that. So I think that answers your question.
Yes, yeah. So there, I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it, but you should experiment with it. And it's very low cost, and you can have a very big gain from even as little as five or
Yeah.
$10. We've noticed that ourselves, just putting something out for $10, $20, and it's astonishing the numbers that you can
Hmm.
get, the reach from that. And
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram are always changing the algorithm. So it definitely can help to have a little bit of money behind those events that are really important to your farm.
It does. And even if you have a Facebook page and you're not on Instagram, but you know a lot of your customers are, you can advertise on Instagram without ever being on Instagram. So don't feel like you have to be on all these platforms to advertise on all the platforms. Facebook owns um, Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger, and you can advertise within all three of those without being on all three of those, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. And kind of along that same that line of thinking, if someone has a Facebook and they, have a pretty consistent schedule, they're have really interactive customers and the people who like their page, do you think that they need to delve into the world of Instagram or get a Twitter if it's going to spread them a little bit thin, or should they just kind of stick with the bread and butter of their Facebook?
I think if your Facebook is performing great and you're getting engagement from your customers and your customers are on Facebook, and even though they might be on other sites, the bulk of them are there, stick with what you know. Stick with doing one well. Um, I've met with a lot of farmers and a lot of people that say, okay, I'm on all the social medias. And
Yep.
I was like, no, no, we are not on all the social medias. We need my rule of thumb is pick two.
Mhm.
Pick two that you enjoy, pick two that where your customers are, well, pick two that where your customers are and pick two that you enjoy and focus on those if you have to pick more than one. The reason I say that is because once you start doing three, four, five, you can't do all of them well, just like you can't multitask well. Social media requires you to multitask. And if you're on five social media platforms, you really need to hire a marketing manager who can then manage those five platforms for you. Because it is overwhelming. It is a lot of posting. For example, on Facebook, if you post once a day, twice a day, 5 days a week, you're doing great. That is awesome. Your word is getting out there. It's getting promoted. Your followers are seeing it. The people who like your page are seeing it, and it's getting more and more reach each time somebody interacts with it. Same thing for Instagram. If you post daily on Instagram, and what I mean by daily on Instagram is like, you can share posts between Instagram and Facebook to Instagram. You want to have original content on both. So while it's good to share and cross promote, you still want to have each to have their original content in some aspect. Maybe it's not every day, but at least a few times a week. Um, and if you're posting on Instagram every day, and keeping up with all the comments and keeping up with the stories, because those are another big thing on Facebook and on Instagram is stories. On Facebook, it's reels. It's the short 60-second video that's up at the top. You see all the little icons up at the top for those who are not familiar with stories. All of that can take up a ton of time. And if you add Pinterest to the mix, if you add Twitter to the mix, Twitter, you're posting 15, 20 times a day. Like it is not a one and done thing. Like if you're not posting every hour or so, you become fairly irrelevant fairly quickly on Twitter. And if you're on Pinterest, you're posting a few times a week, but you're still trying to cross pin and repin and share pins. And it's a lot. In Snapchat, you've got to be doing it on a regular, just like Twitter, you've got to be doing it on a regular basis because they only last 24 hours. And so in TikTok, you've got to be doing them daily. And that's a whole video. So you're looking at 30 seconds to 3 minutes of a video plus information and tags and whatever else. That's a lot of time. And I love social media and I love marketing. But honestly, by about 8 o'clock at night, my phone is down and gone, and I am not on anything anymore. I'm in front of my TV. and that's it. And so it's challenging.
No, for sure. And I think um, I always recommend to farms to just start with Facebook and Instagram because using that Meta Business Suite is an
Hmm.
absolute lifesaver. Being able to schedule posts out and seeing that content calendar and just being able to do both of those from your desktop. It's just
Yeah.
so helpful. How far in advance do you recommend doing a Facebook paid advertisement before an event?
So that's a tricky question. Um, so in developing events, which is funny, I just went through this conversation with one of our K-Card staffers recently. So doing events in general, you want to get as much, you want to start at least teasing the event 6 to 8 weeks prior. So saying save the date, we've got more information coming, we've got all these fun things like look what we're hiding, all of those kind of teasers of like people getting interested in what's going to happen. And then 3 to 4 weeks prior, you might want it depending on the event. Obviously, some events do better with less notice, some events do better with more notice. If it's looking at festivals, for an example, 4 weeks prior, you want to release the date, you want to release information, you want to start introducing, if you've got outside vendors coming in, start introducing your vendors, start introducing what activities are going to be available, when they can come shop, if it's a multiple day event, all of that information. And really, at that 2 week mark prior to the event, you're going to want to start doing paid advertising. The reason being is because you don't want to target people too early in advance that they forget about it and your money goes up and then it comes right back down. But you also don't want to hit it too close to the date where people are missing it and not getting the paid advertising, or it's a week out and they're like, oh, you know what? We've got family coming in next week and we've already made plans to go to the zoo. Or, oh, this, we've agreed to go to this baseball game, or, oh, we've already made plans to do this, or, oh, we've got a home building project to work on, or we're going to be deep cleaning our house that Saturday. Whatever it might be, like you want to make sure that you catch them ahead of, enough with enough time. So 2 weeks or so is generally my rule of thumb for paid advertising for events.
That's really helpful because if you had said you have to start it, you know, 3 months out and you have to pay for that every single day, that small amount could add up very fast. So,
Yes, it does. It does. And usually what I like to do, especially paid events, is put out that $10, see how far it'll spread over 5 days, see what my 5 day reach will be. And if after, and then check it every couple days. And after 2.5, 3 days, if I've blown through all that $10 and I've reached 15,000 more people and I'm seeing an uptick in interest of people who said they're interested in the event or people who say they're going to the event, I might put another $10 out there and then kind of just breadcrumb it
mhm.
instead of doing a whole $50 or a whole $25. Because if you do that, that money is just like it burns a hole in Facebook's pocket. They're like, okay, you gave us money here. We're just gonna blast that for everybody. And that's great because it's helpful, but it might not keep the little bunnies coming.
Mhm. We have two more questions. So what are your suggestions for CSA farmers trying to reach new CSA customers and build trust with audiences that might not be familiar with their product?
I think if your customers are on social media, um, ask them to write reviews. So ask your customers, whether it be your customers that are consistently buying from you and ones that you trust and know, or even some of the new ones like, hey, you're new to us this year. We'd love to have you write a review, get reviews, get testimonials. If they're not willing to do something on social media, whether it's a Facebook review or do a Google review, ask them to send you something via text or via email or write it on your, like, send it through your contact me page on your website so you have it and it can be anonymous, because those are huge. Because if someone reads something that says so and so, like, this customer said this about my CSA, this customer said that, they're like, you know what? They actually do really well. They're giving their customers what they want. They're giving their customers top service. They're giving their customers that attention, that engagement. That's what they want to see. And then use those testimonials and do paid advertising. And
Oh yeah.
I'm generally not a huge component of paid advertisements, but because CSAs are very localized, reaching outside of that group, unless you've got customers that are already in those areas where those new customers are going to be, doing that paid advertisement and just starting. Because the nice thing about CSAs is people don't just go out one day and say, you know what, I'm going to be part of a CSA. It's a thought process. It is a whole thought process that they have to go through because it's a commitment. Um, it is a big commitment for them to say, okay, I'm going to buy so many boxes for so many weeks, or even just buy a box. It's still a commitment. So they're talking about it. And like we all know, when when you start talking about something out loud, your phone is listening and it picks it up in some capacity. Or if you're Googling something, it's going to pick it up because they share information. Google and Facebook and all of those folks share information about whatever it is that you're looking for. And so they're going to start getting those ads and they're going to start saying, you know what, this CSA is really good. I'm going to look more into them. And then that goes back to more of the testimonials. It goes back to more of that content that you're sharing and that engagement that you're doing. So making sure that you're staying relevant and consistent in information that you're putting out there is going to help get new customers, but also retain those customers.
No, that's some great advice. And then we just have one more question. This is a little bit of a long one. So do you feel like being a regular farmers market vendor is crucial to promoting your farm's CSA, or is that utility of that form of advertisement a way of the past? So with that, do you think, online promotion, social media marketing like that is enough, or does having that farmers market aspect help?
I think it depends on your market. Um, I I love farmers markets. I do. And so I'm never going to say they're a bad idea, but they are a lot of time. They're a lot of travel. They're a lot of commitment, and it's a lot of extras that someone might not have time for. Um, and so keeping that in mind, keeping your customers in mind. So when you go to the farmers market, are you selling more than just doing a CSA pickup? If you are you selling enough to be there? And if you're not, talk to your CSA customers. Say, if we did a pickup a different day besides, I'm going to throw out Saturday mornings because that's the most popular farmers market day. Besides Saturday mornings at the farmers market, what day would work for you all? Don't tailor your schedule too much, but if they say, you know what, we'd love to have our CSA pickup on Thursday evenings from 2 to 5, from 2 to 4, or from 5 to 7, say okay and try to make it work within there. And it might just be that it's a trial and error. Um, but I will never say don't do a farmer's market unless it's something that's not making you money and it's not something that is helping your business. And I can help you look through that and look at your cost of what it costs you to go to farmer's market, looking at your sales from your farmer's markets and saying, okay, CSA pickups aside or CSA purchasing aside, how much is that? How much of those sales is worth it for me to go to the farmer's market? And that's something you have to answer. There is no magic formula, magic number. It is what is worth it for you. If that visibility is always key. And farmers market help with that visibility. If that visibility and those several $100s in sales is worth it to you, keep going until it no longer makes sense or until your CSA grows beyond the farmers market. If you've hit that point or it doesn't make sense anymore, try something new. There's never a wrong time to try something new. It's just talk, especially when you have CSA customers, talking to them and even just sending out a short survey saying, okay, we're looking at doing another pickup day or a new pickup day. See what they say.
Okay, and then I promise one last final question.
That's okay.
Charlene said, I live in a smaller community. I find that I can pay for marketing on Facebook, but it reaches people too far away to come for produce. I'm trying to get people to come to the farm, not me travel to them. Any suggestions?
For paid advertising, you can adjust that radius from your location. So continue doing some paid advertising. The other, what else I would suggest doing is work if you've got local producers, work with some of your local producers on how you can get multiple people to work together, you can get them to your farm to bring their customers in. Um, so collaborating with folks in your area, offering some sort of on-farm activity, whether it be a big thing nowadays is those succulent workshops or potted flower workshops or wreath workshops. So getting a local florist, or if you're doing flowers yourself, bringing that in and opening that up and get people out there to do something, an activity, and then more people will know that what you have on your farm as far as on-farm store.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Katie. So her information is there and we'll be sure to pop that in the chat.